The Diary of a Certified Psychopath. Off the crank. And then, no more than a snatch of feral skitters past the next small hour that strikes fear into every sentient soul whose skin does not scorch upon touch from the first ray of rose-gold spring sunshine, another modest showing of aerobic activity wings its way onto Strava's buckling servers, containing data so shallow that Rivendell's shortest hobbit would crack their cranium when attempting any deep dives into it. That said, should any one of its synthetic sports psychologists insist on proving they are fit for purpose by sifting through such mediocre stats, here's what they'd likely spew out. A sporadic heart rate trace could either stem from Dr. Garmin's stagnating lithium-ion reserves, ruptured rubber around his stretched strap's fourth lug, causing random disconnects between pulse and sensor, or your palpable disenchantment at the poignant spectacle of formerly blossoming cherry trees, stripped bare of their enchanting floral elan, which now lies scattered in luminous wreaths beneath the roadside guardian's incandescent gaze, like pink embers in a dying fire, that lamented their host's pending state of hibernation. 2 wind-aided wanders down Stony Lane might well have felt swifter than the recorded 16 miles per hour average, though this curious sensation boiled down to your shape-shifting shadow inducing spurious speed, by growing more than 3 meters in height throughout every dozen soft pedal strokes. This timeless optical illusion, when coupled with its causal light-emitting sources being situated closer to you than the darkened abodes they guarded, is why so many nocturnal athletes swear they travel faster at night. And rolling seamlessly onward to the next false dawn, at roughly 2 herring-gull hubbubs past peak noon, after an 8-hour interlude of the uneventful slumber that Coach Sandman would condemn as distinctly unconstructive, I was peddling pecan nuts past 2 disowned basketballs down Harbour Way when I recalled reading in a historic edition of Dr. Arthur J. Hooch's pocket-sized guide to healthy self-inebriation that pink gin is thought to reduce the intoxicating effects of its founding spirit by approximately 20%. Several studies conducted by accredited scientific institutes, none of which received private funding from planet Earth's most influential distilleries, concluded that this anomaly in biological responses was limited to consumers with an innate fondness for the colour, which is accomplished by adding small tinctures of Angostura bitters to the otherwise clear alcoholic beverage during its refined production process, whilst people with colour blindness, or a preference for other shades, will sense no discrepancy in their sobriety when ingesting equal volumes of its vanilla and rose-tinted variants. By contrast, a separate government-commissioned study, allegedly carried out by neurologists at the Hebrides Health Clinic, a floating multi-deck hospital anchored roughly 20 miles north of Fingal's Cave, found that beige gin engendered almost double the level of perceived pixelation within 2 groups of voluntary test subjects. In this case, the drink's non-standard hue was achieved using Leon Perrin sauce, which was mixed at a ratio of 5 drops per bottle. Following further analysis combined with a hint of basic logic, it was theorized that the elevated drunkenness experienced by patients in both trial groups may have been exacerbated by symptoms of seasickness, which were also manifest in a third placebo group, who were served artificially coloured mineral water in place of the fermented libation. All true, confirmed the ranks of rife wisteria wandering the canapé ledges of Nicholson Drive's lavish double-fronted dwellings, forming ornate floral awnings above their bowed living-room windows. Our owner tries to off us with weed killer every year, but the gardener he fired calls by whenever he, the owner, is on his annual spring vacation in Hawaii, and hoses our vines with pink gin, which has the same effect as a Red Bull monsoon, by making us think we have wings. Besides random interactions with nature's most prolific flowered climbing plants, and a fruit and veg section at Shoreham High Street's Co-op that was fresh out of all sustainable produce, save for one remotely hand-grabbed bunch of organic spring onions, the only other noteworthy lowlights of this freely sculptured suburban squiggle occurred during my opening excursion over Norfolk Bridge, where I crossed paths with a mini chain gang comprised of two e-bikers running line astern several yards ahead of a lean senior who was gamely grinding in their slipstream on a vintage Pashley Roadster. Other than the mismatched machinery, what struck me most about this motley threesome was the age discrepancy, which made me wonder whether its fit veteran had issued a challenge to his younger cohorts, stating that if they couldn't shake him off their motor-aided tails by, for example, Goring's universally acclaimed Sea Lane Cafe, they'd owe him both an Uncle Barney's salted caramel Eccles cake, along with separate taxis home for himself and super heavyweight antique.